What's going on, guys, and welcome to today's video. And today we're going to be doing the fuel economy test that absolutely nobody asked for, and absolutely nobody is cross-shopping a TRX versus a V6 Wrangler. Normally this would probably be compared to the 392 Wrangler, but I'm going to be making a trip to Kansas City twice here from Wichita, Kansas, about 200 miles one way, so 400 miles. I'll be going up one day, coming back that same day, going back up the following day, and coming back. So I thought it was a really good opportunity to compare my two Mopar vehicles here and see which one is the better highway trip vehicle. Now, the TRX is outrageously comfortable and just soaks up the road going down the highway, but it has a big, huge, thirsty, supercharged V8 under the hood. So naturally, you'd think my little puny V6 8-speed Jeep Wrangler would be the natural choice of fuel economy, but I'm kind of thinking the results are going to be surprising. Now, this, if you haven't been on the channel, is my new 2024 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon Extreme 35 package, yada, yada, yada. We'll get into the details here shortly. And this is my 2021 Ram TRX. Now, like I said, we will go over what little mods and parts and pieces might be affecting our fuel economy results, but I thought this would be very interesting because, like I said, I think the results are going to be a lot closer than we would think. I guess we'll start off with the Wrangler here, and naturally you would assume a V6 with the 8-speed automatic would be the natural winner, but I really don't know. Now, this thing only has about 500 miles on it as of today, so it's not really broken in, if you will, but this is a 2024 3.6 liter without e-torque because it is a 2024. It does have the 8-speed transmission. Now, this Jeep was optioned with the Extreme 35 package, so we are sitting an inch and a half taller than a normal Rubicon. We do have the factory heavy beadlock capable wheels with the 35-inch tall BFG KO2s in a load range C, so they're a little bit lighter, but this package would normally come with 456 gears, but I did option this thing with the optional 488 gears, so it's going to be turning a little bit more RPM going down the highway than you normally would be with this package. Now, what modifications have we done already to this that might affect fuel economy? Not too much, honestly. We are sitting about 1 inch taller than a Extreme 35 because we did add a little bit of suspension parts and pieces. We've got a spring spacer on this thing and some shock extensions. We've got the front end caps pulled off, maybe makes it a little less aerodynamic, but I mean, at the end of the day, it is a brick going down the road being a Jeep Wrangler. But for all intents and purposes, this thing is totally bone stock. Factory wheels, factory tires, factory. It should be pretty much what it should do, again, with those 488 gears. Now, if you're not familiar with the numbers, the 3.6 liter Pentastar upgrade motor is currently putting out 285 horsepower in the current 2024 model year. Again, this does not have the e-torque system, which is the 48-volt hybrid battery system that adds more horsepower and torque under the hood, under throttle, yada, yada, yada. This is just the 3.6 with the 8-speed transmission. So I'm not really sure what fuel economy numbers are on the winter sticker. I will have to grab those and look, and maybe I will talk about that on our drive up there in this thing. Over here in this corner is my, again, 2021 Ram TRX. Now, these factory are 702 horsepower, big, huge Hellcat supercharged V8 engines, but this one does have a little bit of parts and pieces on it, not too much. Suspension-wise, the only thing that I think might be affecting our air or wind or drag is this does have a Rogue off-road. This is currently only running the super thin top plate, I guess, if you will, for the front strut. So it's got about a ½ inch or so, 3/4 inch or so of lift over a stock TRX in the front. Factory wheels and tires still. I do have a tonneau cover on the back, so that may make the airflow a little bit smoother, but this truck does have a Rippa-tuned Incognito lower pulley, so it's putting out another pound and a half of boost or so. So I'm confidently saying this thing is putting out 750 horsepower, obviously at the crank. The only other thing this has is a AFE Super Stock intake kit, which all that includes is 2 high flow air filters and the intake tube, the tube that goes from the throttle body up to the factory airbox. It's a really nice, cool, smooth carbon fiber tube. So is that going to add any horsepower, torque, fuel economy? No, probably not. It adds a little bit more supercharger whine, and it kind of makes the engine bay look a little bit cooler. So that's why that's on there. But for all other intensive purposes, this thing is bone stock. Again, I don't really know what the fuel economy numbers were. I'll actually probably just throw little screenshots of what the window stickers claim for fuel economy of these two as I'm talking here. But yeah, obviously we would assume this thing's going to get better fuel economy, but we will find out. I'm going to first tomorrow for me, but just continue watching for you guys. I'm going to take the Wrangler up for my first day. 191 miles or so from Wichita, Kansas to Lenexa, Kansas. Go there for the day, drive right back home, and then the following day we'll get in the TRX and drive there and back. So yeah, it'll be kind of interesting to see what does better, because I'm almost thinking it's going to be the TRX, but we'll see. Let me know if you guys have any predictions, or even try and guess what the fuel economy numbers will be before we take the drive. Now, obviously you can just wait till the end of the video and then make a comment, but let me know down in the comments what you guys think each of these things is going to do. At the end of this video, total gallons used will have our total cost for driving the exact same distance between the two, and I guess just my seat of the pants feeling on which one is more comfortable and nicer driving going down the road, and is more quiet going down the road, and has better road manners going down the road. I don't have any bias already, obviously, starting this thing, so we will get a honest opinion. So guys, I will see you just here right now, and we will be driving up super early in the morning in the Wrangler and getting our first day driving done with this thing. All right guys, so we made it up here to Kansas City. Early morning drive for me, and the drive was very uneventful. This is the first long drive that I've gotten to do with the new Wrangler. Everything, like I said, went very smoothly. Adaptive cruise on the 2024 worked seamlessly. Everything worked very well. Road noise wasn't even really that big of a deal. Yeah, it just went very smoothly. But I did have the cruise control set about 5 miles an hour faster than whatever the current speed limit was. If it was 70, I had it set at 75. On the turnpike, it is 75 miles an hour, so I had the cruise set at 80. Now, yes, you are pushing a decent amount of wind with a block of a Wrangler, but I wanted to be able to back-to-back do the TRX the same way I did with the Wrangler. So just this half was not looking very good. Here is what the average fuel economy shows here as we speak on the Wrangler. A few things that I didn't really love were the transmission downshifting. Every single hill or slight incline, instead of just downshifting from 8th to 7th, it would downshift from 7th down to 6th, just to almost immediately shift back to 7th, hold 7th gear, and then shift back to 8th. So I feel like we were just racing the engine considerably more than we needed to be, when it could have just downshifted to 7th, held that gear, maintained speed, and then shifted back to 8th. So it was really, really odd. Definitely a programming thing, not an issue. I think that's just how it is. So I'm going to now fill this thing back up with fuel, drive back home, and then I'll fill up again, and I'll be able to average my there and back fuel by actually hand calculating, not just looking at the fuel economy screen there on the dash. So I'm gonna get back home, and then we will see what this thing does, and then the next day, or tomorrow for me, I'll be able to run the TRX and do the same thing. But I have a strong feeling after seeing this fuel economy that the TRX is either going to be identical or slightly better, but we're still going to be paying for premium fuel with the TRX. So the Jeep might be cheaper to run down the highway, kind of, barely, maybe, we'll see. Well guys, it is not stacking up very good, or very good odds for the Wrangler here. So, quick calculations on the way there. Like I said, I had the cruise set at like 5 over the whole way and drove very happily there. Ended up hand calculating and getting 13.0, which, yeah, isn't terribly good. Now, I just took a quick glance at the window sticker, and this is rated 16 city, 19 highway with a combined of 17. Now, yeah, that's probably not at 80 miles an hour. I think that's actually rated at like 60 or 65 miles an hour, but this is real world numbers going down the highway at 80 miles an hour with the cruise set. So, on the way there, 13.0 miles to the gallon. On the way home, yeah, it went real poorly because I was pushing 20 to 30 mile an hour winds all the way home, almost directly head on. It was really having to work to maintain speed, and it was just absolutely brutal, just blowing all over the place, tons of, steering correction and wind and downshifts. It was pretty rough. So on the way home, we got 11.7 miles to the gallon, trying to kind of maintain those same speeds. So our on the way home fuel economy should or potentially might be skewed because tomorrow when I take the truck up back to Kansas City, I'm assuming I might not have crappy weather on the way home. So if it's not poor on the way home, then it's going to really be hard to compare. But at least I did get, I think, a very clean drive to Kansas City this morning with the Jeep getting 13 miles to the gallon. So we will do the same thing tomorrow in the truck and see what it does with the cruise set the same way and going the same way. And if it's crappy on the way home, then we can throw out both of our, coming back here to Wichita numbers and just compare our two Kansas City numbers. But I'm kind of worried that 750 horsepower is going to be getting better fuel economy than our fuel efficient 285 horsepower V6 Pentastar, but we will see tomorrow for me. So yeah, I will see you guys when I am up in Kansas City. And if I didn't already say, we have training for work. That is where the training center is. So it is new vehicle training, new technology training, if you will, up in Kansas City. So that's why I'm making the trip up there. So I'm going to take the TRX tomorrow and probably have a little more comfortable drive. And yeah, I will see you guys with hopefully different numbers. Our guys out here for day 2 now with the TRX this time, and I have not filled up here before heading back home, but I think what I'm going to figure out is all of my vehicles get garbage gas mileage. It doesn't really matter what I'm driving. So the truck I think currently is showing 11.9. And that was a very smooth drive home, smooth drive here, cruise set at 80, no wind, and just going down the road. Again, a TRX is kind of sucking some fuel down at 80 mile an hour, but I'm going to fill this thing up and go home, and then we'll see what we do on the way home. We'll get our final numbers and figure out which one is my better road trip vehicle. Now, this is infinitely more comfortable going down the road, quieter, smoother, all the above, but we will see which one is the more fuel efficient vehicle of the fleet. And yeah, this is considerably lower numbers than I thought. I obviously have made multiple trips in the truck, but I don't remember it being this horrible. But yeah, we'll see when we get home. All right, guys, so we've got our final numbers here, and yeah, my test wasn't very accurate because of our insane wind on the way home in the Jeep. But if I didn't already say, on the way to Kansas City, cruise set at 80 or like we said, 5 miles an hour over, I got 13 miles to the gallon. Now that is considerably less than what the window sticker calls for, but again, they are not doing fuel economy testing at 80 mile an hour for EPA stuff. So even though they probably should be, because that's kind of what the highway is most of the time, but that's what we got, 13 miles to the gallon, which cost me 25 cents a mile. But yeah, that's what that was. Now, coming home in the insane, crazy, it was like
35-mile-an-hour headwinds. Again, probably not the whole time, but like most of the time, pushing the Jeep all over. It was really, really not fun, not a enjoyable drive. That knocked us all the way down to 11.78 miles to the gallon. Yeah, that was not very fun. So going up in the TRX, again, I tried to set the speed or the cruise control at the same like 5 mile an hour over, and I got 11.2 miles to the gallon going up in the TRX at 33 cents a mile. Now coming home, for whatever reason, now I did not have any wind. It was like super smooth sailing, if you will, coming home in the TRX, and we ended up with 13.7. Again, that was at 80 miles an hour with the cruise set. So it did respectably well for a 750 horsepower Hemi Hellcat powered huge heavy truck on 35s. Which only just leads me to really wish or wonder what the Wrangler would have gotten if I wasn't driving into 35-mile-an-hour headwinds. If the TRX got, 2.5 miles to the gallon better on the way home, would the Jeep have gotten, 15.5 on the way home? I don't really know, but I'm glad I at least looked at numbers before and after, because if I would have just looked at one number there and back, it would have been really skewed since we had horrible winds in the Wrangler. Yeah, so I don't know. I just thought this was interesting, seeing the difference between 750 horsepower, 7,000 plus pound pickup going down the road versus our nice, V6 powered 285 horsepower, fuel or more fuel efficient Wrangler going down the road. So all in all, we did very similar numbers with both vehicles, even though we had some weather conditions kind of skewing those numbers. Now, the TRX obviously would have cost a little bit more since it does require premium fuel, but I mean, not really. As I'm looking at my little numbers, it cost me 26 cents a mile coming home since we got a little bit better fuel economy. It got 33 cents a mile on the way there. So I mean, pennies difference between a huge truck versus the Jeep, and premium fuel calculated in versus regular in the Wrangler. So I don't know, thought this was an interesting test, had the opportunity to drive the same route back to back with both vehicles and see what those numbers are. So don't know what this tells me other than the Wrangler should maybe do a little better fuel economy if we weren't driving into horrible winds, but the truck also gets right there with it. And yeah, it's a little bit more comfortable, as in a lot more comfortable going down the road. The cabin noise, the road noise, everything's a lot quieter in the TRX. And I mean, yeah, it should be. It's way more insulated. It's a lot more structure to the vehicle, insulation, all that stuff. Not that the Wrangler's unenjoyable other than driving into that headwind, but this was my first long drive in a JL other than just short trips, obviously, around town. And this was the first long trip in my personal JL, which is going to lead me into a future video of 5 things I hate about my JL, because I now have a very quick list of 5 things that I hate about this thing after driving it on my first long road trip. So I guess look forward to that video. And yeah, I've got some cleanup to do because I was out there killing some bugs in this thing. The poor TRX is filthy. I did run into some rain in the Wrangler on the way home, so it pretty much got power washed on the road. So guys, let me know down in the comments, what fuel economy are you getting? Are you 2-liter turbo guys getting like insanely better, out on the highway with the cruise set? Now there's going to be a million variables because of gear ratio, tire size, lift height, all of that stuff. But again, mine being a automatic 8-speed, 488 geared on 35s, yada yada, there's just going to be a whole lot of variance. But let me know down in the comments, what are you driving out on the highway at 80 and what is it getting for fuel economy, unlike my poor vehicles? So moral of the story, all we figured out is both of my road vehicles get pretty crappy fuel economy, and yeah, luckily I don't do a whole lot of long road tripping. Now we do obviously take the Wrangler on trips when we're wheeling. We were actually planning on going off-roading, not this weekend, but the following. But yeah, we've had torrential rains here in the Kansas area almost every day. Now, not every day is torrential, but all of our off-road parks are under some heavy water right now. So we might have to delay our first off-road trip, even though we've done all of our cool parts and pieces, and the Wrangler is pretty much, as far as I can tell, ready. So until we get to actually off-road, we'll probably be doing some other boring videos on 5 things I hate about my Wrangler, since I can add that to, I can make all 5 very quickly after the drive. So thanks for coming out into the garage and out on the road, and figuring out that both my vehicles do really crappy fuel economy and they're pretty much the same. So yeah, it doesn't really matter. So guys, as always, thanks for watching and we'll catch you guys next time.